when the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats. Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for having to miss the testimony of some of you, and I appreciate you coming today. Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley's, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that, I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just
want
to clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy," end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, "When the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, "by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court," referring to the current United States Supreme Court, "has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well," close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question is.
let me show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m., quote, "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did
hearing.
you say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But you're
One comment. That's all it took to ignite one of the most intense moments of the Senate hearing. Senator John Kennedy confronted a law professor over controversial statements she had made in academic writings and on social media, questioning whether someone with those views could truly offer impartial testimony before Congress. As the exchange unfolded, tensions rose with every question. Kennedy began by apologizing for missing part of the earlier testimony before turning directly to the witness. He summarized her position, saying she appeared to believe claims that the Biden administration pressured private companies to censor speech were exaggerated, while arguing the Trump administration posed a greater threat to free expression. The professor agreed with that summary and insisted her conclusions were based on Supreme Court precedent, not political preference. Kennedy wasn't convinced. He immediately questioned whether her personal opinions were shaping her testimony. The senator then pulled out passages from one of the professor's law review articles that he read statements describing recent Supreme Court decisions as promoting racial patriarchy and quoted language criticizing the court's interpretation of constitutional rights. Kennedy asked repeatedly whether she had written those words. The professor acknowledged the quotations were hers, standing by her published work. Kennedy argued that such strong language raised serious concerns about her objectivity as a legal scholar appearing before Congress. That if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
doctrine.
like your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you
speech.
honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment,
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
I
Thank
believe
you.
that you
The
should take the
time
First
has
Amendment
expired. Thank
seriously.
you. Senator Durbin.
Then came the moment that transformed the hearing. Kennedy turned to one of the professor's social media posts and slowly read it aloud. "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy." He looked directly at the witness and asked whether she had really made that statement. Instead of giving a direct answer, the professor questioned why the post was relevant to the hearing. Kennedy responded that it was highly relevant because it reflected the perspective of someone asking Congress to take her legal opinions seriously. As the exchange continued, the room grew noticeably more tense. Kennedy wasn't finished. He read another social media post criticizing the Supreme Court and asked whether the professor genuinely believed the justices were motivated by white male supremacy. Rather than answering directly, the professor returned to discussing the First Amendment and government restrictions on speech. Clearly frustrated, Kennedy questioned how anyone making such sweeping public accusations could expect lawmakers to view them as an impartial constitutional expert. As his time expired, he ended the exchange with a sarcastic remark that drew attention across the hearing room. The confrontation quickly became one of the hearing's defining moments. Supporters of Senator Kennedy argued he exposed potential bias in expert testimony, while supporters of the professor maintained that strong criticism of the Supreme Court does not prevent someone from offering constitutional analysis. Whatever viewers conclude, the exchange reignited debate over free speech, political rhetoric, and the standards expected of witnesses appearing before Congress.